Charli Howard isn't brief of in view or 6. He's a refreshingly rough evaluation of the mind openings of the Vogue planet, and maybe an extraordinary one for a term of the insertion championing flesh positiveness motion. Thou don't wish to see yours companion Jeanette in fashion, you wish to see human beings you can strive to. I believe we wish to see for human beings whose lives appear a bit more than charming rather than their own. Time Charli thinks model really too common, disappointed Jeanette. She says the key item is how aspirational beautiful really be related in fair one flesh kind. I see at model love Ashley Graham, who our love amount 16, and I yet wish to be Ashley Graham, reason she's cold as Hades, she says. I don't believe female are definitely painted to flesh shapes, I believe he's on the personalities of female in periodicals and which they stay to. Charli has fair published her at first volume, Loser, a reminiscence how deals publicly in her problems in consuming disorders and psychological public health. She says she struggled to fit in for her high school year, that led to her affliction of concern and eventually creature brought to modeling as a way to flee her environment. I didn't aware which I requested to do as a carrier, and later I stored receive scouted and human beings told, thou should try modeling, she explains. Currently, for who lived in the medium of Wales at Landing High School who thick felt fully one, modeling was love the charming way of. So the volume is on who was a bit volatile in the marrow, how I engraved the concept how if I eventually got to my vision way or got recognized by the modeling elitists how I would eventually be lucky. End of Instagram position by Charli Howard. Charli lays naked the repeated cast telephone call she went to, wherever she was routinely said she was too big for a specific customers or campaigning, in spite possessing radically changed her dietary. One aversion induced her to compose a Facebook position, that quickly went viral, inviting out the production for its demands. I reject to sense shamed and frustrated on a everyday base for not meet yours absurd, unreachable beautiful standards, she wrote. Sarcastically, the focus of the position led to concern of a modeling agent in the U.S. Charli looked in their backdrop and found they had a trace department. During a few days, she had delivered out to encounter them and signed up. She now lives in the U.S. complete time, work as a pattern, although one who is classed as advantage size. I include a D cup. I include hips. I'm never departure to fit the excellent skinny class any more than, she says. If we're departure by production standards, I'm just departure to fit the arched marketplace. Down there isn't very a chapter for me. Down there's not one very presenting the UK amount 10 to 12, you each include to be very thin or very large. Or I am one of a fistful of human beings hard to show how you can pattern at the nature amount. And he's smack explosion in the medium of both of categories. And you can yet do Vogue. How's my entire spot? End of Instagram position 2 by Charli Howard. Charli may be a wholesome way currently, but has struggled in lack of appetite and bulimia through her lifetime, facility she acknowledges are hard for lot to understand. Not one has lack of appetite in societies wherever down there is not quite meal, she said the Saturday Times. They do not include lack of appetite in the camps in Syria. I believe his probable lack of appetite could be on egotism. I lift the spot carefully in Charli, but she's rather insight of the type. Impoverished human beings wouldn't include had how since they didn't include accessing to meal, they wouldn't hunger themselves. So I do type of issue if possessing accessing to meal is perhaps a element. I had accessing to meal and thus as well had the capacity to limit it. He's the grade framework, if you include cash, you can provide to limit, if you don't later you can't. I aware how's rather a contentious item. Yet, she adds, her major cause for minimize her dietary was downward to a community how very put blood pressure on me to miss way. End of Instagram position 3 by Charli Howard. Lot human beings will, of year, discover the proposal how Charli is now deliberate advantage size extremely absurd. Consisting, she says, some advantage size model. Advantage size in an production period, how's not thing I've taken into account myself. And I've had really success advantage size model say to me, so thou re not advantage size, I discover how very unpleasant. Yet which I'm looking for is the union of female, and to see female on one executive board, wherever they don't include to be put in categories relying on their sizes. She admits, I'm really youthful to be a advantage size pattern, largest of them are in their 30s. And the direct size model, their job type of day out about 25, 30 if they are happy. So I do sense rather happy in how honor. Charli says down there's tons of job out down there for model greater rather than the ordinary amount, particularly in America, not so lot in the UK. She adds, the is which I don't know. I believe the UK yet has these qualms or these supernatural associate in the period advantage size. End of Instagram position 4 by Charli Howard. The growth of public print with Charli's high school days, and Instagram in special, has, if whatever, strengthened beautiful stereotypes, manufacturing the vote of various figures more than strong. Fitspo accounts, Thinspo accounts, brief for Fitspiration and Thinspiration, you see model who are excellent toned, I believe how sends a fully various communication as so it must be very hard, she says. I don't believe I could be a adolescent currently. I believe I would virtually include a collapse if I was a adolescent currently. Yet I believe how's precisely why we requirement the flesh favorable motion. Loser by Charli Howard is out currently.